Make comments.
Rob, right, good, how are you?
And commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the February 26th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Public comment? No public comment?
We
Okay.
need to publicly comment on that tie, though.
It's the season.
Yes, it is.
I can't.
Thank God for season 2.
Okay, let's go to commission comments. Commissioner Ford?
Yes, well, first off, I want to say thank you for leaving me with some spring weather to come back home to. Appreciate that kindly.
Girl, last
Nice. It was like 32 when I left, so coming back to 65 was kind of nice, so. Started off Monday morning, started with me with the general session at the NACO Legislative and Policy Conference. We heard from several U.S. House representatives that morning, including House Majority Whip Tom Emmer from Minnesota. We heard from Glenn Thompson from Pennsylvania, Andrea Salinas from Oregon, and Bruce Westerman from Arkansas. Each spoke on initiatives they were working on in Congress, and of course, how they apply to our nation's counties. Post meeting, which I attended kind of via Zoom. I was having a lot of problems with that on Monday, so if it was choppy for me, I apologize for that. I did make it up to Capitol Hill. First met with the staff, United States Senator Roger Marshall's office. Of course, we discussed rural infrastructure challenges and of course, Fort Riley. Also on Monday, I came back to attend the Federal Agency Expo there at Washington Hilton. Many federal agencies in attendance to discuss local issues, including FEMA, HHS, Small Business Association, Economic Development Association, Treasury, Veteran Affairs, Housing and Urban Development. It's always good to catch up, the opportunity to see what these federal partners are doing. Now they continue to work on a consistent basis with the interest of nation's counties. And then late Monday afternoon, I went back up to Capitol Hill and I met with U.S. House Representative Derek Schmidt in his office, along with his military affairs director. Had nearly an hour and a half long conversation, went through a lot of different key components of Fort Riley, which of course he represents the western side of. So he was curious about some things. He asked a lot of questions, had a lot of questions, thought of a couple of things maybe we can work out at a later time. So there'll be some other conversations going on there. Certainly appreciated his time. He had just literally gotten in about a half an hour, 45 minutes before. I guess Snowmageddon happened on the East Coast on Sunday.
Oh,
It didn't approach us to the south there. We got about 1.5 inches of snow. I realize any more than that paralyzes the city. So I told him I'm from Kansas. I'm kind of used to it. So whatever. Monday, I was also invited and attended the mid-sized county caucus reception that was there at the Hilton. Met some commissioners from the state of Iowa, Minnesota, Nevada, of course, Kentucky. It was a real quaint, down-to-earth reception. Kind of enjoyed that actually. Tuesday morning, I started with a general session number 2 at the NACO Legislative Conference, Policy Conference. We heard from Alex Meyer, who's the Deputy Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Intergovernmental Affairs. Then we heard from Lee Zeldin, U.S. Secretary at the EPA. Next was David Belnick. He's the endorsement partner with Nationwide. He was the sponsor of the event. We heard stump speeches from each of the 3 candidates vying for the second vice president position at NACO. That will get voted on later in July at the annual conference and expo in New Orleans. Then we heard from U.S. Representative Sam Graves. He's the House Chair of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. And then very last, we heard from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of the Health and Human Services. They did kind of a moderated one-on-one panel discussion with him. He's kind of hard to listen to. His scratchy voice. The acoustics there just didn't make it sound very, very good. But anyway, it was informative to say the least. Tuesday afternoon, headed back up to Capitol Hill, met with U.S. Representative Tracy Mann in his office and applicable staff. Had a good conversation there too, discussing the same thing, rural infrastructural challenges in Fort Riley. And then went over across the way and met with United States Senator Jerry Moran, their offices, discussing the same challenges, rural infrastructure in Fort Riley. Had a pretty good conversation with the senator. Did discuss the Keys project. His staff's working on that as we speak. So, and he made it clear too that we need to work on that and get that taken care of. So as always, appreciate all of them. Tuesday was kind of a chaotic day considering the State of the Union speech. Things were getting shifted, moving around, security protocols, press was everywhere. So then to actually take the time to actually talk to me personally, I thought that was kind of cool. So let's see, Tuesday evening, I attended the all attendees closing reception conference at the International Ballroom. We also had the opportunity to watch the State of the Union speech from that place. Huge thanks to Nationwide and all the other sponsors for that reception, as well as the conference itself. Then yesterday I headed back to Washington, D.C., got home late yesterday afternoon, got unpacked, went over everything today, caught up on some correspondence, and here we are. That's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner McKinley.
Second. Up there we are. Tuesday was the construction meeting for the new project across the street. The storm shelter is complete. Looks more like a bomb shelter than a storm. I mean, that thing is heavy duty. The next few weeks is mostly mechanical and electrical rough-in. And then they'll be able to start drywall. But the final decision on the shade structure was made. They're going to stay with the metal canopy as originally in the bid. And then after the meeting, I met with David Adams to review some stuff. Tuesday evening, went to the Riley City Commission meeting. Jared Tremblay from MPO was there. That Highway 24 corridor study has been amended. It's now going to stop at 4 Mile Corner and not continue over to the Riley intersection. Didn't exactly, I'm not exactly clear why that is, but
That's news to me.
that's the first thing I'd heard. First time I heard it too.
That's
He said it wasn't us. Somebody, I don't know if the state turned it down or
probably
somebody changed it so it doesn't go there anymore.
as of Wednesday. I thought, okay, I'll get a hold of it on that.
Well, yeah, the contribution we made to that included
Right.
that, so that.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, it didn't, but we were gonna add that on as part of it. It was
Oh, I thought we had that into it.
We did that afterwards, but we were doing the whole thing up there anyway. It doesn't make sense not to do that as well. I'll ask him about that, or if nothing else, I'll reach out to Mike Morati at KDOT, see what the deal is.
And then other business, they had the audit from last year and went over that, and then some other miscellaneous city business. And that's all I've got.
Okay, well, let's see, Monday I attended the intergovernmental luncheon at Rock and K's event space. The guest speakers were Debbie Ness and Carla Hagemeister, speaking on functional poverty in Riley County. Our county consistently and for many years has been the highest rate of poverty in the state. There will be a community meeting to address the issue on Friday, March 27th at the Lincoln Education Center. So it's coming up in about a month, and it is, they did produce that report online. And John, I think you can pick that up since you weren't there.
Okay, I've missed all those meetings. Something else has been going on. I've talked to Carla about it already, so she's here.
Yeah, because they do have a report out in writing. Tuesday and Wednesday were pretty quiet. I caught up on some paperwork, continuing to study the results from David Cooper. Followed up on a lot of phone calls and emails, reviewed today's meeting and documents, which took some time. There's a lot of documents. Wednesday evening, I practiced with the church bell choir and then attended Latin service, which was a good end to the day. So, uh,
Ready for business?
yes.
First item we have, need a motion to approve the low bid tractor from Prairie Land Partners.
I move to approve the low bid submitted by Prairie Land Partners for a compact utility tractor, in the amount of $53,893.93.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the low bid submitted by Prairie Land Partners for a compact utility tractor in the amount of $53,893.93. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, need a motion to approve the agreement forming the Bear Construction Company Inc. for the Anderson Park wastewater lagoon facility in the amount of $1,980,090.50.
I'll make a motion that we approve Riley County Public Works approving the construction agreement formed with Bear Construction Company Inc. for $1,980,090.20.
No second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement with, excuse me, with Buyer Construction Company for the University Park wastewater lagoon facility for $1,980,090.20. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There, please sign.
Oh, goodness sake.
So don't you wish for a stamp too?
That's okay.
Only third,
Gives me
Yeah.
some exercise.
but it's an example of how not said many truths.
No.
This is just me to sign.
Mhm. Yeah.
That many signatures for so much paper.
Yeah. Next, Commissioner, need a motion on Riley County employee action forms for Bethany Stansel, new hire, appraised as an appraiser one, residential appraisers department, Courtney Alford, new hire, EMT, MS ambulance department, and MT McVeigh, position change, customer service rep, public works department.
I move to approve the requested employee action forms.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the requested employee action forms. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign.
Six points.
Mm-hmm. All sixes.
Yeah.
I didn't have any.
Okay, I'll make a motion then that we approve the minutes as written in the February 23rd meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to approve the minutes of February 23rd, 2026 for the Riley County Commissioners as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Tentative agenda for the commissioners. Okay, items for next week's press conference. Okay, next week, you have Red Wolfson at 9.
You do? Okay, yeah, I'll run them out there sometime. Oh, oh, okay. All right.
Wherever worksheet.
Yeah, well, like I say, I got a stack to take to Michael too, so
Yeah.
head out there some, I don't know, probably do it tomorrow. All right. You Ned's editorial.
Uh-uh.
Oh, boy. That has to be the word not having straight buckets, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. I have to reply.
No, I haven't caught up with everything locally just yet.
Interesting opinions, but.
I think I've heard so far, it's been very positive.
Well, that's what he's in favor of it, which I'm not gonna change my mind just because of that, but I'm still,
I'll go back and look at it again, too.
In time I am agreeing with one of his editorials, I have to go back and rethink. Am I really on that?
It did, now they lowered the threshold and,
Naturalization. How much do you think this impacts with the protest petition? What is 10% of electors who office of the president of the United States now changing to 5%? Means he has to office of the Secretary of State.
Significantly reduces the number.
Yeah.
Significant.
No.
I thought we were gonna say 5% presidential, but that even drastically reduces it even more.
Yeah, I don't think many people are catching that.
What is it? What?
It's House Bill 2745. It's a one where it says.
Yeah, I know, but you said they changed the.
Yeah, the protest petition was at 10% of. It's 5% of the last vote, the voters in the office of secretaries. Why that was, I mean, they want to make it really easy. I mean, to refute them is, they just want to make it pretty easy when you do the protest.
they also don't realize this, there's just, there's a hard cost to go through and make that petition valid. We have to go over and look at it, make sure it's valid using our time and our bandwidth.
Yeah.
But that's it, the biggest thing, it's just the sequence of events just doesn't make sense with getting the tax roll completed, the budget
Yeah.
certified, the tax roll completed, and then the tax bills out to the public. By the time you verify the petition, get the election ready, yeah, it's just ridiculous, that's the part that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there is a significant cost.
The county election officer is to determine the sufficiency of the petition within 7 days of filing. And then on certification of that petition, governing bodies to adopt the final adjusted budget.
And here's the thing that people don't, what they don't realize at all and haven't contemplated. Usually with the special election, we have word, that it's coming up. All of our polling places are contacted years in advance saying, hey, we have an election at this time period. Many of our polling places won't be available because they're not county facilities and they already have other events scheduled. We can't mandate they let us use them as a polling place. It's just once again, proof they don't think.
You gotta pass it to find out what's in it, Rich. Don't you know that?
It's crazy. Are they gonna be done soon?
This is when it's gonna move past its current state. Oh, yeah.
Do they have the wording for the election question in there? Because that's something that'll have to be ironed out too.
I don't think that it doesn't actually go to election. It's just if they file a protest petition and it's sufficient, then that's it.
Then you're limited to 3%.
Well, that would make
But also
sense.
depends on
That
how-
was my question, because we have to have a certified budget on October 1st. How does that work with the November election?
Like I say, no, they're just saying, that it depends on what that 3%, does that include the growth, population growth and all that, or how's that?
Yeah,
work?
well, and how.
The details of that,
It's not,
the 3% can make a difference.
yeah, now that's.
Yeah.
How it's,
I'm curious to some of the great ideas I've heard that they're gonna do totally away with property tax and.
Yeah.
Income tax. Or the use tax, those will be intriguing.
yeah.
You know, kind of along the lines of what Trump was saying the other night too. No more income tax, you know, they're gonna take care of the tariffs and other ways, so. That's.
Yeah. It'd be nice. Not have income tax.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna fund all the projects, so.
They don't fund them now, they just borrow.
That's true.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, all it has to be is just the protest petition itself and verified.
Okay, so there's no, I thought it was a reverse referendum type deal, but it's not. Okay.
You know, because as soon as, it's filed, as soon as protest petition is filed with bank clerk, 30 days from publication of the resolution, budget providing the property tax revenues in excess of subsection B, which is at 3%, shall be deemed disapproved, and the tax jurisdiction shall revert to the maximum funding level permitted under subsection B.
So if you're going above the 3%, however that's calculated, you wanna have two budgets prepared, just in case.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
And did they had one that if you got below it, that the state was gonna give you money?
They eliminated that.
Yeah.
They removed that.
Okay.
Of
Of course.
They can't afford that.
Of course
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah,
Of course they did.
at one time they're giving you a bonus if you did keep it in line, but. The state doesn't give out money, they just take it.
Who comes up with these ideas anyway?
The people we elect. That's a sad part.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have till, so as far as time goes, the way it reads is. Initial adoption of mini budget subject to protest under the shall occur not later than August 15th. And then any all actions requiring the subsection, including the verification of final adoption, shall be completed no later than October 1. So that gives us our timeline.
One minute, Mary.
I'll be sure. Baseball took a couple of hits by a lower level
Just-
team. That team on roll.
I thought
They're
Who are
on
they
the Power
playing?
Four.
they're playing Louisiana, I thought they were playing LSU,
Mhm.
no, just the Louisiana, no.
Mhm. And that team's beat 5 Power 5 teams this year already.
Oh, really?
They're on a 7-0 run.
Well, all those southern teams are the best because they can play year round.
Yeah. That team's gonna be something in their division.
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay, Barry.
Morning, Chairperson and commission. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. we, yesterday I went back and asked my staff to run a number of trials that we conducted in the last year. The Peterson, it was a 3-week sexual assault trial, took a lot of the publicity this year, but we had a number of trials this year, 26. And we were successful, got guilty verdicts in over 90% of those cases that we tried, which is a really good number, and I'm really pleased with. One of the things I would point out in this, the credit goes to the assistants that we're trying these cases. Yes, we don't just try easy cases, we try difficult ones, and it's could be a toss-up 50-50 case. We will try difficult cases involving sexual assaults, things of that nature. And yeah, I would be frankly happy with 80%, but the numbers I saw, I was really pleased with. I don't want to jinx myself for next year, but I think not all lawyers are created equal, but I've got some of the best in the state, and that's you have a lot to do with that by giving me the financial resources to hire the attorneys at Trinity Moose, Christina Trocheck, Dave Lyles, Bethany Fields, Mike Blackburn's, Pon Sinikin. I've been able to, get really good lawyers here, and it makes a difference. It makes our community safer. I mean, these are, rapists, some of these murder trials, killers, that we were able to get off the street because of the resources that you've allowed me to have, and the people that I've been able to hire. So both my assistants and the commission, I want to thank you for making 2025 frankly an exceptional year for our office. So that's my report for today, and I'd stand for any questions, but appreciate the support.
I don't have anything.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Next, Commissioner Hanson, 19 Victory, you take the full time.
Yeah, I think so.
You didn't put the motions in the packet. I had a record for you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We do screenshots of receipts, Brendan. I've got one, it's not downloading through email.
Okay, where is it?
and you're gonna need a little bit more at that same minute.
Well, I actually.
Uh, That works, that'll go. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, I read that, and I thought, aren't we supposed to do that already, but I don't think so either, the more I thought about it.
Frankly, it doesn't make sense because you've been doing schools term, you're a leaker, and not all if I'm a person, like, let's say, on a car enters and wants to have another career on, right? And they enter in, they put a blinker on, say, they enter in, How was that person to that? Like, what?
Well, in that case, you would never use your left, you'd be using the right, so if you were going into it, you were going this way, you would turn to go right.
And
So
so,
if you weren't, you would turn until you get ready. So I don't think you'd ever use a left turn signal.
well,
And if you do, I think that would confuse the hell out of the person about.
everybody's supposed to go right, obviously.
Right.
You said the turn field, they were trying to turn like, right, is that what you're choosing? No, no. No, it's not. It is. Everybody turns right around. That's the whole thing.
There's one or two people. It's either the person just sits there and waits for all the traffic to go through before they go through, or it's the person that just talks. It's really not turning in between on that. Yeah.
People forget that you're supposed to
Stop.
yield to. I go through that roundabout out of.
There's some roundabouts that.
Anderson, probably
One down.
20 times a day.
Faster. One's out in Canada.
It's out, how do you yield? It's just, I love that. That one's done well.
Yeah, I think that's good.
There's only one
Down
little
there in
mistake in
Marion
there
County?
that they should fix.
It's outside of Florence on 77.
I think
There's three different
yesterday,
highways that it points to,
round trip,
and it's too
well, I
much,
did about
but it's
6
so
round
tight.
trips, so.
Yeah,
About
so.
12.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of those, it's such a tight corner, I don't think it's.
Nobody, especially,
All the way around and come back to there to get onto it.
boom, right up. his
Yeah.
nose.
It's like, literally, you have to literally like go like this. I think the engineer who designed that was drunk that day.
Which one?
Huh?
Which one is that?
Down in Marion County,
Oh.
77.
Some of
I
those
think
are
it's
crazy.
Marion County.
I don't think those approaches and exits on those two new ones are great.
They,
I think
it's
they
got
could
a,
design them.
it's got a little kink in them as you go in and.
On
For
24.
two new ones, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually traveled.
Some work smoothly and those two aren't as smooth, but I think they can.
No. And I don't know if that should, I wonder if that's just to slow you down somewhere. But I've been behind some semis that trying to weave through there.
Go straight over.
I was just thinking, how do you use the left turn signal in that case?
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I think it'd just be all like, if you're turning, it'd just be right, it's.
Yeah,
You're-
they're used to regulars.
Yeah.
I mean, you need the amendments. On the same, but actually. So, yeah, that's, yeah.
Well, Third Street, I mean, you should, if you were turning right, you would just already have it on right as you enter.
Yeah.
And that tells you that you're going this way instead of around.
That'd be nice little hidden. Probably does.
Then I think once you're in there, if you're going up Bluemont, I don't think you turn on turn signal then. I think
every time we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready, Commissioner?
Okay, yeah, I'll move the county commissioners, including Chairwoman Pokey, Vice Chair Ford, and Commissioner McKinley with Jacob Hansen, County Counselor, recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act in order to discuss a personnel matter and to protect the privacy of the employees. The open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 9:50 a.m.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for the reasons previously stated under the non-elected personnel exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. All in favor? Aye.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion, the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of County Commission come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also move that no, binding action was taken during, the executive session.
No second.
It's been moved and seconded that the record reflect that no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Meyer.
Yeah.
Just making sure you settled back in. That's okay. All right. Yes.
I'm awake.
Good morning, Commission. Corey Meyer, IT GIS Director here for a staff update. I've got quite a few things on there. I won't touch on them all. If you have questions of some that I don't speak to, then by all means, contact me and we can discuss them. I want to start on over on the GIS side, actually, is where I want to start at. New news this morning that our latest imagery flight is at 100%. They got started about 2 weeks ago. When I put this together, they were at 95%. We are at 100%. And this year, we had good communication with Fort Riley. We were able to fly the edge of the county at height like we need so that we get the best quality imagery. We got a new rep and consultant that we worked with Eagle View. They found the right people to talk to, and it was very successful. So we are in QA phase of our imagery, which is really exciting. So I really wanted to get that out there the way I don't miss that, because that's huge news. That's big news. Additional things going on with GIS. We will be going through a server upgrade, also a software upgrade. That'll be happening both on the IT and the GIS side. We're working on the planning of that. It will be the back-end infrastructure that runs our entire server conglomerate of everything that we have. We will be upgrading around 90 servers in the next 2 years as we go through. Our current server OS will be end of life in 2029, so we've got to start the process of upgrading those operating systems, my team is working very, very hard to get us set up infrastructure wise on the backside of that so we can begin that process. Part of that has to do with some of the things that we've ran into in regards to licensing and costs. We've seen an extreme increase. One of them was a $16,000 to $38,000 increase in a product we have that helps support our virtualization on the back end of our servers. So we're going to move away from that. In doing so, it will be a lot of work, but not expense in product, but a lot of work on staff time. But we will get there. I have great staff and very thankful for that. Few things that we are watching. One over in courts is there's still the talk of potentially 2027, 2028 that the state might take over some of the services there. So we're still watching those House bills. We are also in the process of planning a potential move of all of the courts data off of the Riley County network to the state network because they are required now to use a KS Courts email address. And so we are working with the state IT on that up there. So more to come and how that'll all play out as we're working through that. I discussed our VMware to Hyper-V migration. That's the piece that's going to, along with the server upgrades, it'll take us about 2 years to get completed. Other items that we've been involved in, of course, the EM building remodel over there, the planning and so forth, and those kind of things moving along well. No work for us at this time, but we're beginning to schedule and know that when our part will be to get in there and start getting everything wired, connected, and so forth and so on.
Did they give you a date on that?
Not a firm date, but we're going to be in the month of April is where some of the internal will start to go on the EM building. with a completion still in June is where, yeah. So, the BOCC remodel, you've heard, several things on that. Once we finally get once carpet's down, then we'll be able to go in and finish the audio, video and get that up.
Are they giving you a date on that?
I asked John yesterday and he does not have a firm date on that. Yes. What we have as a general right now is that it would be April, when we would move it. So that's the best I could give you right now.
Are we serious?
So,
That's the first I've heard of,
Yeah.
Commissioner. I
So
don't
if we
know.
can get-
You can't move it until it's done.
yeah. So we gotta have carpet that gets down, and then when carpet gets down, then we begin the furniture move, and then once the furniture move, but yeah, I mean, we're already at March next week, and so if they need 2 weeks to get carpet down and then to finish, so we could be looking at April. So, yeah.
I will
The-
just stay here, I guess.
Well, we could move in there, but our feet would stick to
Yeah.
the floor all the time.
Well, we have the moving parts. That option could be on the table, a lot of things going on. So, the IT GIS remodel, that's still in the planning, but we're really winding that down, getting close to be able to come in and present to you for that potential approval to move forward on that project. The last piece that's being done is a structural evaluation of where the generator could be placed for that building. Once that's complete, then we'll be able to have some numbers to come in and discuss it.
That generator's just for the network system. It doesn't operate anything else, correct?
Well, actually, that is part of what is discussion, and we'll be presenting with you two options. One for just some of the parts and pieces, and the other in the proposal will be for the entire building. When it was reevaluated in there to the generator to help support elections, to help support potentially the commission when we get in these bad weather times and so forth. John got to thinking and realized, maybe we need to talk about that it's the entire building. It would mean a bigger generator, but it would mean be less on the manpower and internal wiring within the building to get things to all the panels throughout that building, which is not the easiest to work in. So I think that would be, and that will be our recommendation, recommended option is that we'll go full building generator power over there.
Can you go on the rooftop over there?
Yeah, looking at it being on the rooftop outside the third floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, there's that landing pad.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah. There used to be a
door.
cooling tower up there is what I understand, and still there's still some sort of structural there, and so that's being evaluated. Bruce McMillan has got his team looking into and evaluating that, so, yeah.
That seems good now. Okay.
We completed all of the fax migrations. That was a piece to move away from AT&T. The phone system is completely moved. We got all of our disconnects with AT&T done, working with Michelle Adams to get our refunds back, which is one of the hardest things to ever be able to do, is to get refunded money from AT&T. But we are there. We're getting there. Inventories were all completed, turned in. That's a requirement towards the end of the year. 2026, we're going to look to do monitor upgrades out of Public Works. That's the next department that needs those. Just recapped a few things that our laptops, desktops, those replacement were done in 25. We have now completed an upgrade of all the access points throughout the county, which means we do have public Wi-Fi available throughout any of the buildings and any locations where we have Wi-Fi at. That was a long project that James got completed, so he did very well on that project for us. I worked with the health department as they got kickoff going on their EMR replacement, and then they got to a point there where it's in their hands of going through all the details of of the setups and so forth, going well, but we'll see our entire team is available to them as needed. We're working on getting them some final hardware pieces for compatibility with that software. 2026, we'll look to do an upgrade of the AV out of Public Works, another place where there's a projector, and move away from that so we can get a better quality visual out of that, just like what we'll be doing over in Commission, where there will be 3 TVs available for the material that's being shown throughout the room. Courtrooms, we're doing a little bit of AV upgrade in there. The transfer station, we did a big project right at the end of 25 where we did put a point-to-point network in there. So all of the buildings out there, the 3 buildings that are out there, there is now a ring network out there. And so we were able to move computers up to the top of the hill where they now have the ability to use computers up there where material is actually taken. We also installed an entire new series of cameras all over that location out there. So there are 10 cameras out there now watching over the work and so forth that's going on. It's a place that's had some incidents in the past, and we now have good quality coverage of what goes on out there. I believe that Anna spoke before about the new Beacon Schneider parcel search. That's all up and going. There start to be chatter of the Orion software that the appraiser's office uses will be switched out in 2027. The Tyler contract with the state will come to an end, and they might look to, when they re-up that, not go with the same product, but go with a different product that they have that's fully web-based. That will be very impactful here, both to obviously the appraiser's office, but us internally. A couple of cool things that we've done. We've completed with WTC, which is public Wi-Fi at Potter Hall now. And that Wi-Fi extends out through the fairground buildings that are up there where they host events and so forth. So there will now be Wi-Fi available there. We are also working on the grounds right over here with the Goodnow House and this area that there will be WTC Wi-Fi as well. And the website refresh that's been discussed before. And then the doc access application, which I don't remember if Vivian has spoke about, but that is now our website is ADA compliant with all of our documents. She's fist pumping back there. So yeah. We held off long enough and got to the point where Civic Plus had come up with a solution that ties directly into our website, and it's called Doc Access. And we do not have to do anything pre-uploading of the document to make it ADA compliant. You put a document on the website and it goes through the processes behind the scenes and makes it ADA compliant, which is great. A lot of the products that were looked at, they were showing us bids that would be $10 a page potentially. And when you have, 40, 50, 60, 80,000 pages out on your website, that'd be very costly. And you would have to do the work to the document ahead of time before you upload it. In negotiations and in talking with them on it, because our CPD was interested in doing it as well, we were able to come to a decision that the one contract that Riley County holds covers both our website and the RCPD, and that saved $3,000 for RCPD. If we went separate contracts, they would have had to have had one of their own. And we talked with them about our collaboration, our work together and so forth. And then it's just for the same citizens of Riley County. And so they agreed to just have one agreement there on both websites underneath of it, which I thought was very nice of them to do and working with us here. So I got 1 minute there, but there are many other things listed there. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, I am certainly open and answer for you. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner, you have an executive session, 10:05.
Forgot my phone in there, so I couldn't.
Hmm?
Have my phones in my office, so I couldn't hook
Oh,
up the
do
thing.
it. Just love Duo. Everyone loves Duo.
Well, if I forget it at home, I'd be real in trouble.
Yeah, it's gonna be a battle for me. I'm gonna have to replace my phone here. I don't know how that's gonna
I
work.
need to replace mine too.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna have to, because it's starting to go out.
We're going through it like months.
I've had mine for 2 years longer than I should.
But it's just because, yeah.
I was waiting for a special to come on too, because they're expensive too.
I've got another place, because you can replace that, but I IT place.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've had it for 3 years. It's also taken some wear and tear, and I've got a partial crack in the screen up there, and yeah, by the time you go through it, and the new model just came out, it's
Getting.
just time.
It's
All the
time,
different
yeah.
things.
it's time, commissioners.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe it's time for that too. Okay. I move that the county commissioners, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chair Ford, and Commissioner McKinley with Jacob Hanson, County Counselor, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Director, and Diane Creek, Health Department Director, recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act in order to evaluate a department head and to protect the privacy of the employee. The open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:35 a.m.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for the reasons previously stated under the non-elected personnel exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
I'll move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second.
This one moved and seconded, the Board of County Commissioners come out of the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll also move that no binding action was taken during the executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Lewis with Community Corrections. I am here today to, oh, we have the thing pulled up here. Let me- That's. I'm here today to present for our both adult services and juvenile services comprehensive plan and case plans. We're going to start with our adult services. So as the commissioners know, we receive, there's a planning allocation based upon the governor's budget request to the Kansas legislature that's subject to change until the very last and final budget is passed by the legislature. This year, our planning allocation for adult services is $486,115.52. And for behavioral health, it's $96,493.03. So we'll go through just our entire packet. You might have seen that it's pretty long. So I believe it is pulling up here. It's about 68 pages. So I'm not sure why it's not pulling up.
It should take a while.
Yeah.
Is it that big?
Everything's taken a long time on the website.
This thing takes too long.
I didn't see the progress. Slowly.
It feels the weight of all the pages.
Too much paper.
Oh,
Yeah, mine, oh, there we go. Okay, what page are we on now? I'm up to 105.
you are on your end and mine isn't showing anything yet.
Mine finally popped up.
Okay.
Here we go, comprehensive plan branch.
I apologize about the wait.
Popped right up.
I can, if you're comfortable with it, I can start to talk,
Yeah,
even though you
go ahead.
can't see it
Yeah.
on the screen. Okay, so that's our total allocation for both the adult services and behavioral health. And some of the highlights of our plan this year, our comprehensive plan, is to we have some goals that we're going to work on for FY27. Those goals will be to, number one, continue our supervisor's briefcase training, which is something that we started this year. It's an 18-month program. So we're unable to complete that in the 12 months that's allotted for our fiscal year. So we'll carry that over for next year. Another goal that we have is that we will start to administer what is called a barriers worksheet with our clients at the time of intake. And then again, after 4 months, to make sure that we're addressing their needs and barriers that they face when they're on supervision. That could be as simple as a driver's license, a birth certificate, social security card, housing, just Medicaid assisted treatment, different things like that. So we're going to start that process to hopefully be able to address those needs sooner rather than later in a more effective way. And then in addition to that, we are going to, we have a job club that we have on Tuesdays that is offered by our care coordinator, Brett Bruning. And we are going to ensure we've started a process to ensure that every single client that comes on board that is unemployed will be attending job club. And if they are not successful after 4 weeks of attending job club, they're going to meet with him one-on-one and have individual sessions to figure out what's the barrier. Is it appearance? Is it job skills? Is it the resume? Just work on that on an individual basis. So those are our 3 overall goals that we'll have for FY27. Oh, here we go. So I'll kind of scroll through. Like I said, it's a lot of pages and several of them we don't necessarily need to spend a lot of time on. our organizational chart. And then also a requirement is to include our JCAB membership. I am on, did you find it?
That's what it is. Okay.
Hold on, I'll find it for you.
Top, that was 9.
Thought it was
109.
What did you do about that?
Oh, you're looking.
10 so far.
Yeah.
I'm on 10. We did have our success rate for FY 25 was 66%. And although we didn't have a 75% success rate, we did have an increase of 3% or higher from the previous year. Some of the reasons that our clients may be closed unsuccessfully can include, at the time of revocation, they might have multiple cases. So if one person has 3 cases that are closed unsuccessfully, that impacts our overall number, as well as the court or the county attorney might not follow our recommendation and allow them another opportunity on community corrections to continue to try to meet resources. In addition, they may very well not report it or stop reporting within the first 30 to 60 days of supervision. Okay. Some of the changes that we experienced in FY 26 have been that continued change with leadership in my role as the director. They've had to adjust to just some different expectations, different priorities compared to previous leadership. And so that's been an adjustment. And then in addition, we did fill the Clay County position, and then that was left vacant again. And so we had to rehire. One of the changes that we did make in that process is improving our training on our end and having structure to know where that individual is during the process of training. There's a considerable amount of training involved when it comes to dual supervision officer because they have to be trained in both adult services and juvenile services. So we modified that and tried to improve that. Some other issues or impacts that we've had is just adjusting to the new Clay County attorney. There's a new person in that position. And so learning how they operate and the communication style and different things like that. So those are different things that we definitely have addressed in the last year and are working to continue to address. One of the things that I did note in here, and I know that I've spoke to each of you about when I present, is the struggle with what's called Athena. That's our database system for the Kansas Department of Corrections. So we're required to enter all of our information in there. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the mechanisms to pull data out. And so it has been very difficult to get data and reports, and it's not an efficient system at all. So one of the things they ask about is what could you do to improve your efficiency in your agency? And one of those things would be to have a system that is efficient because our database system is not. Okay. We will continue. We continue to have our cognitive behavioral programming, and we use those funds for our care coordinator, Brett Bruning. And again, this year, we will continue the same programs by offering the CBI class as well as what we call Job Club. And then in addition to that, he meets individually with our clients and gets them set up and helps get them connected to community resources when they get started with community corrections. We will not be starting any new programs with those funds. So like I talked about earlier, I kind of jumped when it wasn't pulling up, but I talked about our case plan and our goals overall. And that was those 3 things that we're going to do by finishing that supervisor's briefcase and starting the barriers assessment, and then making sure that clients are all getting referred to Job Club. And that's this right here. There's a lot of pages. This year, like last year, we have been in communication with Pawnee Mental Health, and they will cover the difference for the care coordinator position because we get a set amount each year. And so that position does cost more than the amount that we are awarded. So Pawnee Mental Health will pick up the difference of that. Okay, and then we're on to our budget and financial information. This talks about our in-kind contributions that we receive, as well as any other grants and funding that we receive through community corrections. As you guys know, we do get multiple grants. We apply for multiple grants throughout the year to help remove barriers for our clients and help address their direct service needs. Okay, So this is pretty small, and I might just bump over to. I can keep that up and then. This is our budget. Our KDOC budget for FY 27. I'm not sure how well you can see it, so if you need me to stop on a particular page, I can.
Budget and eye test.
Yeah, I know. So in working through the budget, just like last year, we have worked just constantly with budget or with the finance department and HR, making sure, checking our numbers, making sure it's accurate. It was a huge help that we were able to have access to that in October so that we could get started as soon as we received what we did from the state on the December 1st. So once that was there, we could get moving. It does take a considerable amount of time. You'll see several pages in here. The state of Kansas this year, KDOC, has required that we show proof of what the county is doing to assist our agency. So we have different documents in here to verify those appropriations. That might take up a chunk of the pages there, isn't it? And then we also plan for payout. So if we have someone leave or retire, we do budget for that. Okay, I think we're to the end of that. So I'm going to shift back over here to our bar. So for 2027, where we are with the budget and our grant is we have broken it down, and we received approval. We have presented this to the Joint Corrections Advisory Board on February 19th and received approval for our application overall. And we have a shortage in adult services of $964.89 and juvenile services of $106,018.58 for a total of $226,983.47 for the Riley County portion. In addition to that, we have scheduled an appointment or a meeting with the commissioners in Clay County on March 2nd to request $37,791 in appropriations there. You might see that is similar to last year. That reflects that we had to hire another person. We had a vacancy again, and that individual was hired basically as an entry level pay. So that hasn't went up because we haven't had the need for that to go up. And that is all of the adult services. Do you have any questions with any of those? I know it's a big packet.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 27 adult services comprehensive plan.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the 2027 comprehensive plan grant application for adult services. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hold on tight to it.
Yeah, there's only a couple of things.
Do you want me to start with the next one? Okay. It's downloading again, so I'll get started on the next one is our juvenile services. And as you will recall, juvenile services includes juvenile intake and assessment, juvenile intensive supervision, as well as our IIP program. So when I'm discussing that, you'll hear about each of those programs. The total amount for the allocation for juvenile services has remained the same, and that is $357,692.29. Our overall goals in juvenile services include very similar to adult. We're going to continue that supervisor case training for evidence-based practices for our staff. In addition, all juveniles that are put on intensive supervision will have that barriers worksheet at the beginning of services so that we can identify what their needs are and try to better connect them with community resources and help. And then our final goal is to, no, I don't have it in front of me. I have to switch my brain to juvenile. Hold on a second. Coming.
The computer can't keep up with you.
Well, I can't email those packets out in one. It's way too big. Oh. Okay, here we are. Very similar, so I will definitely try to scroll through here because there's a lot of similar information that is contained in our adult packet. We do not receive delinquency prevention funds, so that we skip past that. Our juvenile intake and assessment is under community corrections. We completed 201 intakes in FY 25. And both of our counties within our judicial district do utilize the notice to appear process in the event that they have a juvenile intake comes contact on working hours. So if there's, for example, if there's a party that's been busted and they're handing out multiple MICs or MIPs and they're safe to release to a parent, they don't have the staff to haul all of them back to a law enforcement center. So they may provide them with a notice to appear and then they all report into us that following week. So both counties participate in that process. When in juvenile intake and assessment, we address racial ethnic disparities by conducting what's called the KDAI assessment, and that eliminates racial and ethnic and geographic disparities. And then all of our juvenile intake individuals that come through intake are entered into the Athena system database. In 2025, FY 25, we had a success rate for our juvenile intensive supervision program of 91.67%. 3 of those individuals did earn early discharge credit, meaning they were able to get off of supervision early, and then 8 completed their program hours. We conduct the YLS assessment with juvenile intensive supervision clients, and that is also a validated tool that eliminates racial and ethnic geographic disparities. All of our juvenile intensive supervision clients are entered into Athena as well. We plan to administer what's called the forward thinking curriculum in FY 27. It's a cognitive behavioral program. We'll do that in-house with our clients to hopefully help them address some of their thinking patterns and change some of those behaviors. That will be, it's curriculum we already purchased a couple of years back. And so we have that on hand and we shouldn't have to purchase much more for that. Immediate intervention program, that's what we refer to as IIP. And kind of scroll through there, we do have an MOU in place with both Clay County and Riley County Attorney's offices. Okay, in FY 25, we had 24 pre-file cases, 63 post-file cases for a total of 87 cases that we served in the IIP program. And the versions are offered through the county attorney's office, whether that's Clay County or Riley County. And so those, we receive that from them. We don't determine who is going to be on with them. Those referrals come from this office. Same with programmatic changes as it was in the adult comp plan. We are working with Pawnee Mental Health, and actually yesterday determined they're going to start, in addition to the cognitive behavioral education class that we're going to start in-house, they're going to start offering one on Thursdays at 5 o'clock for our juvenile offender clients to try to help them with those thinking patterns. So in addition, they tried to start a course to address kind of some parent support issues, and that didn't take off. So we just keep trying to think outside the box on how we can help these individuals be successful. Okay. I told you about 2 of our goals. Let's find the 3rd goal. Maybe. Well, that is all. Okay, so the COG class and the barriers worksheet and the supervisor's briefcase, that's all 3 of them. I just talked fast and missed it. I apologize. Okay, so we'll go down to our budget and financial section. Very similar in this section. We apply for a number of different grants to assist our clients in removing barriers. And for juvenile services, our total allocation award amount is $357,692.29. That would be, after that, we have a budget shortfall of $106,018.58. So between the 2 programs, we have a total budget shortfall of $226,983.47. And again, we are scheduled with the Clay County Commission on March 2nd to present to request allocations from. Do you have any questions about the juvenile service?
I'll make a motion then to approve the fiscal year 27 juvenile services comprehensive plan and case plan.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2027 comprehensive plan grant for juvenile services. All in favor?
Aye.
Sign.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll see you shortly for my staff update.
Making sense to me.
See you.
Okay. You want to start? Did she say start? No.
She said.
I thought that's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear that part. All right, good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. I have a couple things on your agenda this morning. The first one we'll start with is to discuss the extension of the contract for glass recycling services with Howie's. That's of course what it's been traditionally since about 2010. As you all probably know, Howie's, the recycling portion has changed names to Bison Ridge Recycling, still Greg Wilson. It's just a renaming, rebranding. I'm not sure if you all have heard about that yet, but so that's why you're going to see both the names Howie's and Bison Ridge Recycling in my report. So just there's one in the same. So again, this contract has been in effect since about 2010. We've done this every 5 years with Howie's. I'll just refer to it as Howie's. We all know that it's what we're referring to. And basically it's expiring at the end of this month. So I wanted to discuss with you folks if you wanted to extend the contract. The purpose of it is basically to essentially subsidize the cost, or at least help, I should say. It nowhere near covers what Howie's pays to do glass recycling. I do have financial information that Greg provided to me. It's not in your packet. Of course, I can share that separately. And again, it's nowhere near what it costs him annually, because it is what I did include in here, and I'll scroll down to it real quick. Let's see, is the report that he gives us every year to let us know how much glass recycling is done annually. He is required to give us his net income statement per year, as well as the tonnage of glass recycling he does every year. And then of course, with that, he'll give us the invoice. This happened in February at the end of each of those years. And he'll give us the invoice, if you will, for us to pay what we agreed upon as under the contract. So you can see that glass recycling is pretty popular. That's a lot. And again, what the county has paid over the last many years nowhere near covers what they pay. It's not profitable at all. So this was something that was put together many years ago to kind of help offset some of those costs. So again, I didn't want to just come to you with a new contract without having a conversation first if you folks want to extend the contract again. As you can imagine, Greg's pretty busy. I did let him know we were talking about this morning, but he's not able to be here. He's got a lot going on with things. So again, just wanted to open the conversation to see if this is something you want to explore extending. Again, traditionally it's been a 5-year contract. It costs the county $15,000 annually, paid through the general fund. So just wanted to get your thoughts and input on if you want to explore extending this again.
The contract that's in here, It's only half of it. It's only got the odd number page. Started reading through it and it just kept jumping around and I couldn't figure out what, finally noticed the names. It's only got the odd number. It goes 1, 3, 5, 7
So sorry.
through there.
I apologize.
So
I had noticed that on the one that I had, I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I'm getting the correct one. So I apologize.
yeah, trying to read through
Okay.
it was,
Yeah, that makes it challenging.
it wasn't making sense. It's one sentence of the next page didn't follow it. I
Yeah,
finally
it must be double-sided and whoever scanned it just did the.
just scanned the top.
one
Yeah.
page, so I apologize. I can of course send that out to all of you. But I mean, it kind of gives you the gist of what we're doing, what it's about and what it costs. The contract's been the same for as many years, so.
So what happens if we don't?
So I don't know how that would impact Howie's if they would continue to, offer their glass recycling. Obviously, that would be up to them, how they'd want to do that.
Probably wouldn't, but
So,
Is that for the whole, that's for the whole county, right?
right, yeah.
And it's only like 20 tons of recyclable waste.
It's
Glass.
192 tons of glass.
192, I'm
Yeah.
Except it doesn't, if you look, the first sheet says 192,000 pounds. The next page is 192 tons.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out
There's
too.
multiplied by 2 somewhere, or,
What was that last
well,
one?
see, it says 192,000 pounds here.
Yeah,
The next page is 192 tons, which
Right.
would be 384,000 pounds.
she was here with us. But yeah, this is just what he submitted to us, so.
So what is it? Is tons
Get
of,
that clarification, you can get that
Absolutely.
clarification from the board then.
Yep,
Because,
absolutely.
and just looking at the other, because it says, and when you're saying glass, but in there it says glass, plastic, and steel cans.
Yeah, he gave us all of the information, of course, but this is,
But it
it's
just,
kind of morphed
where-
a little bit over the years, but it is specific to the offsetting the glass recycling.
mostly for the glass. It said we'd get an income statement showing, which that isn't what this is, but maybe
Yeah.
he doesn't want that public, I guess.
Yeah, I do have that information I
okay.
can send to you separately.
It said we get that and that this wasn't.
Yes,
financial.
we do get
But-
that every year as part of the contract. He does send that to us.
It says not to exceed that, but have we ever paid any less than 15?
I'm not sure. I didn't dig through. Again, we've been doing this since 2010 and they're 5-year contracts. I didn't dig through the original contracts to see if it was less. Of course, currently it's the 15. And he didn't indicate, requesting any additional than the 15, but I'd have to look back through the contracts to see if it's been less in the past.
I think we need a bit
Possibly.
more information on this.
Because what we're doing is we're funding people who so people feel good about throwing their glass
Yeah,
in there, which it doesn't. It costs a lot more. It doesn't, the newspaper, cardboard, aluminum cans, e-waste, all of those pay for themselves so that it is worthwhile to do that.
Yeah.
The glass and plastics
don't,
costs, that's not, we're giving money so that people can feel good about recycling, but it's not doing anything
Yeah.
to me.
I tend to agree.
they
And-
don't
and-
reuse it.
Yeah.
Well, they do, but it costs more than
Costs more.
what it costs to collect it and haul it somewhere.
Even with the money we give annually, it's a net loss for them.
Yeah.
So the glass recycling. So-
Because they also get paid from the individual bins that they,
Right,
if you have the
If you
recycle
take it,
bins
yeah.
in addition, that's an extra charge.
There could be federal government subsidies for participating in that is what I wonder. Because, yeah, I mean, the only way, which is government subsidization of some point, I wonder if there isn't some federal side to incentivize them to do it.
Yeah.
I bet.
Hmm?
So I bet. that'd be pretty
That's my thought. Because private business generally doesn't do it at the charity or.
No.
That kind of stuff at that volume. Doesn't help the bottom line.
No.
It's not like Kansas isn't like some of the other states where they put a % or something price on a transaction, which would be the best way of handling that, but well, I'll keep my opinions to myself, but anyway. Yeah, this just doesn't logistically and fiscally make sense to me. That's just my 2 cents.
Sure.
Which could be applied to this as well. But anyway,
Any little bit helps.
Right.
But again, that's why I wanted to have the conversation with you guys first before just bringing back a contract extension. Because obviously that takes a little bit of work to do, but just wanted to see what your direction was. If we should explore that, if you want to talk to Greg more, if you want more information,
Yeah,
or what you're thinking.
I mean, some more information, some more detailed information on that would be good. If there's any other dollars coming from any other place. What unit are we dealing with? Tons.
So just to make sure I'm hearing right, I can talk with Greg and see if I can coordinate a time with him and you folks where he can actually be here with us. Because obviously a lot of the questions you're asking, he would be the one to answer, which is perfectly fine, of course. So is that, my hearing, everybody okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Do we need to make a motion to table it or just by consensus? And
Okay, so if we're ready to talk about the next item. So you all remember we've talked a lot over the years about the Stell Road Benefit District, and Randy DeWitt, who was here with us from City Manhattan Public Works. We'll talk a lot more about it, kind of give you an update on where we are, which is based on the presentation I just handed out to you. And I'm just going to try to find that really quick and not do two things at once. Okay. So a couple things we want to do today. We want to give you an update on the entire project. If you remember, we have three parts to it, parts A and B, which are tied together. And then part C. You folks have, of course, there's a fire station property in part C. We talked to a few years ago about your willingness and interest to be a part of that, basically sign a petition and pay that fee to be in the part C. And there was support for that. So again, two things we're doing today, kind of giving you a presentation as to where we are overall, needing to gauge your support for continuing to move forward with parts A and B based on the updated information Randy will share, and then having you sign your petition for part C. So I'll turn it over to Randy and then we'll just kind of go from there.
All right, thanks, Commissioners. Good to be here. Actually, it's not December 16th, 2025, so I didn't put that part on David.
it's a little warmer today than it probably was on that day.
I don't know, pretty warm back then too, so.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, just like I said, we generally have an update here for the entire project. Just a quick agenda. I mean, we want to talk a little bit about parts A and B, which last time we talked was a little skeptical that we'd be able to proceed with that part of the project. Based on the costs being higher than what we had already approved with petitions that were completed a couple of years ago. And then, as Amanda said, we are, for the most part, ready to proceed with Part C, which was the portion that the county had a share in. So I think I'd like to start with the more interesting one. And this table here is just a general update of all parts for the as-bid final assessment costs based on city staff's calculations and all the various fees that will go into the district, financing costs, et cetera. The cost to have our bond counsel review the petitions. And then, so that's a total cost for every property within these three projects. And then what we estimate their annual share would be based on those project costs. So We don't need to really go through, these are really just here for reference if we need to talk about them, but I've got a map of part or district for Part A and a district for Part B. And we can reference these here in a second if we need to. But the main thing we want to talk about is that the costs for this project, even though they are higher than what we had anticipated when we approved these petitions as a city, we did, at the direction of the county commission, we did go out and we started having conversations with those owners to see if they were still willing to participate. We knew that there was one property owner that likely wouldn't, because that was a property owner that had opposed the donation or even just the general participating in the construction project by providing an easement. So just some facts on parts A and B. The important thing here is the petitions. So we still have a majority of the owners that would like to participate in the project, even with the higher costs, which surprised me. So out of 5 owners that own property within both projects, 4 of them still wanted to proceed. So that's an 80% yes vote. If you look at it based on petition shares, and I'll note there that the city does have a city at large share in Part B, 1 share. That was kind of the agreement with the owner to get them on board years ago. But 12 of the 14 petitions or shares are voting yes. So that's an 86% yes vote. The 1 no vote would have been the owners of the 881 Stell Road property, which this is the property that kind of initiated this entire project. They were the property owners that didn't want to donate an easement. So they kind of had a change of heart, and we had to go back and redesign the project a little bit. This exhibit here showing Part A, it's still an original exhibit. This is that property right here, tract 1. And you can see the original alignment was on that property. Because they opted not to participate and donate an easement, we then went back to SMH, our consultant, and had them redesign the project so that it was on track 2. But that doesn't necessarily, while that made the project more constructible, it didn't necessarily remove tract 1 from the project. They still are a beneficiary of the project because they would have access to it. So they still have to be a part of the benefit district. So after we bid that project, this is where we're here today, with now this sewer main being on the Wolf property, tract 2. And so now that we have a basic concurrence or a majority yes votes by the petitioners, it changes how we go through the approval process with a city benefit district being in the county. This would trigger a requirement to have both the county commission and the city commission approve the petitions and a resolution. Now, I don't understand. I don't fully aware of what the county's procedural process on that would be, but obviously the city would approve the petitions and adopt a resolution. I would defer to county staff to see what it would take on your guys' end. But that's where we're at. A couple caveats to this would be that the contractor that bid this project, they're still willing to do the project. They're holding their bids. They are busy now, and they can come back and do the work this summer if we are able to proceed with this project. They have made it clear that even though this sewer main is now on this property, we have adequate easements. We felt to do the construction of the project, but they have come back and said we really have some concerns about being able to do the project without impacting this property. So we probably need to at least look at obtaining an easement from them. But we already know that they're not willing to participate. So I've kind of prepped county staff that it's likely that this would have to be a condemned easement. So the catch #2 with this is going to be, I've never went through a condemnation process where the easement ended up being donated. So usually you're always paying a fair market value, and that's what the process is about. Every other property within this project donated their easement on the premise that it doesn't make sense to pay for an easement that's going to get turned around and be associated with a project
and they're gonna pay themselves back through special assessments. So that was the theory of why we asked them to donate, and they did all donate. We have to go through a condemnation for this property. It's not gonna be free. Now, it probably won't be that expensive either, because we really only need a temporary construction easement. But it's gonna be a little different than the rest of the project. So we'll have to navigate that. What I've come today to really is, we had a unofficial consensus a couple years ago when we presented this scenario. And there was concurrence from the commission that generally you would be supportive if we had to force this benefit district for health and welfare issues. And really, we're at that point where even though we have a decent majority, we still have some no votes. And so if we proceeded with a no petition, the governing body would have to approve that. We're not asking that for that now. We've got some steps to take and a little bit of research to do. But we want to put that out there that would be the next logical steps. And also that as the city has fronted all the costs for this project so far when it comes to design. We've done a majority of the work. I have talked to staff via email about if we do go to condemnation, I think the city's expectation that we would have a partnership with the county in going through that process. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. We haven't really had that conversation yet. We want to see what if we still have the same consensus, have a discussion about parts A and B, and then city and county staff would then have a direction, maybe how we would proceed with that project moving forward. So, the only other thing I think is worth mentioning is that, if this project moves forward, there's still another step after that. All of these properties would have to agree to outside city service agreements with the city. If they are going to connect, just because they're in the benefit district and just because they're paying the assessments doesn't mean they have to connect. The property here that is voting no, they have a functional septic system. So they wouldn't have to connect, therefore they wouldn't have to sign that outside city agreement and become a city customer right away. I know this property and these properties over here, these properties over here, which have been part C, they do have failing septic systems that we've been, reason for this project and trying to get this project done to help, to get to where we don't have to deviate from our standards of, if we can't feasibly make them connect to a sewer system, we probably ought to let them either repair or replace their septic system. I don't think that's an option that either city or county staff would prefer. So really at this point, open it up for discussions. That's all I have on parts A and B, or I can go through the part C stuff and then we can have a group conversation. If you want from here. Any questions you have?
So
I have a question, but I can wait.
I was wondering about like track one, what if their septic system fails? They're still part of the benefit district and they will have to at that point pay to connect.
Correct. I mean, if the benefit district proceeds, they would be essentially forced to participate and pay those special assessments. But they wouldn't be forced to connect. We would provide connection points for that property. So there'd be two of them since there's two homes. And just a little history on that property is the owner now is different than the owner when we first started this process. The original owner wanted to split the lot and the county said, we cannot do that and have you on a single septic system. So we tried to get this project going then. The timeline obviously didn't match what they wanted to do. So they sold the entire property without splitting it up. And so, that's their situation. The new owners, like I say, originally they were on board, signed the petition as a yes, but then they had a little bit of a change of heart. So.
Well, yeah, we have that in another situation. So that information will run with the property in case they decide to
Yeah, so
to sell.
the assessments and yeah, those would be in perpetuity unless they decided to, pay those fees, which I don't imagine they would, but there's always an option to pay the fees up front and avoid some interest. Yeah. Which is obviously, I think what the county would be doing on part C. any outside city agreements, those do run in perpetuity with the property, so. Doesn't matter if they sell the home, they still are have to abide by the provisions of those agreements, so.
Okay,
Yeah, my question was actually kind of similar to that, and that, do you know, is the city interested at any point making a regulation or requiring homeowners to hook into public infrastructure? I know that that does happen, and that's perfectly legal, but I guess I didn't know if that was in the city here.
We don't have, ironically, we don't have the ordinance to actually force them. We still have properties within the city that have septic systems. Now, our code, if it failed, a good example is, I believe, the Sergeant Edition, which was a county in the county and came over to the city, and when that happened, that was well before my time, but there's still some septic systems out there. There's still some wells, I believe, that, there's specific guidance for that subdivision that says once those are failed, they're not allowed to replace them or repair them. They have to then connect to the city system. Outside, there really is nothing that would hold them to it other than the county's regulations. I think there would be a willingness, especially in this area, to get together and develop kind of a procedural policy about how we handle these in the future, because I get referred to oftentimes if there's something happening in that district about, hey, it's the city system that we're connecting to, so go talk to the city about it. I think we need to have a more specific policy on how this is going to develop in the future, or who's responsible for what between the city and the county. Just general history. I mean, Rich, Mr. Vargo, you probably are the most familiar as being one that was around when this area got developed, but my understanding was it was a collaborative effort to build this trunk main with the intention that it was intended to serve the greater area, but as things develop or as needed, we do these type of improvement districts to facilitate either redevelopment or repairing this issue. I just don't think if there was ever a policy draft and said, this is how we're going to do it. So I think that would be very important, because this area is obviously, I think, ripe for redevelopment.
Yeah.
That trunk line was put in originally to help redevelop that whole, because at one time we had a hotel just across the viaduct that wanted to come to this area. So the city and county, and then this extension, the envision was to go out to interstate that gave visitor center at some point in time. And so, and very nice way of saying I'm old. A lot of people have done that lately, but I was here with the Sergeant Edition as well when that went in, because Commissioner Jim Williams lived out in that area. So yeah, that would have been my first term, but yeah, that trunk line was put in actually to help redevelop all along that highway and clean it up, as we're well into the cleanup issue out there that people had concerns with and redevelop.
I mean, the infrastructure's paid for. Now we're just kind of sitting playing the waiting game, and every year there seems to be somebody that's interested, and then they find out what it's going to take to either get under the highway, or that, Fairmont Heights, for example, that was a good project, but it also was eligible for USDA grant funding. Other developments that have wanted to come in, or other neighborhoods haven't been eligible for that, so it's really made it cost prohibitive. So, the more we can do to help that area redevelop or get more properties connected, I mean, the city staff would be more than willing to get together and talk about how we can make that happen.
It's interesting.
And I had a couple more questions on the potential. And you're saying that we may need the city may need to do that for the temporary construction.
I mean, that would be ideal. The main reason, there is a large tree that has to come down that's right on the property line. And it's not feasible to take that tree down without impacting that property. I mean, theoretically, we could dig the trench, we could install the sewer, no problems. But there's a fence that has to get rebuilt and a tree that has to come down. So it's not actually the sewer main that's causing the issue or the need. It's some of these other intangible things that will either have to get taken down or go back up. That I mean, we could have our contractor reach out to them and say, hey, can you grant us permission to be on your property, we'll restore it. That's not the proper way to go about it. We should get a temporary construction easement. And we always knew that it was likely that we would need one, but we knew that person was not willing to participate. Hindsight being what it is, after we found out that they weren't really willing to donate an easement, we should have went through eminent domain then and saved us a lot of time and a redesign effort. But being what it is now, I think that's the best way for this project to move forward. If we can get it done in a timely manner, if there's participation between the two entities here at play, and, you know, so ideally we'd love to, like I said, I've never seen an eminent domain process that ended up in a donated easement. Maybe there's some avenue for that because everybody else donated. I just don't see it happening. And I'm not an attorney and I've never led that process. So I would have to defer to county or city engineer or city attorney staff. I don't think they've ever been through a similar process.
Yeah, and then my second question would be for, we don't have any like federal grant funds touching this or anything like that, right?
That might be a possibility.
On this one?
If you wanted to move forward on it, yeah. I mean, I had that discussion Monday when I was in DC. I mean, that's not out of the question or not out of the question to draw certain grants through appropriations to do some of this stuff. We just have to know where we're at and what the figures are, and it has to kind of be construction ready, which this definitely is. It could apply.
Well, and if that happens, you might want to loop in your council,
Yeah.
because then we have uniform relocation.
Yeah. So, and even if we went through the eminent domain process, we would probably start from scratch with following all the proper procedures with, you know, formal offers, via letter, appraisal process, et cetera.
Good news is I don't think as far as the county would be concerned that we don't need to help money those works. The city should be able to do that. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I think there was just probably an expectation of the partnership and going through that process. And so,
Yeah, but whatever we can do to help actually much, it would be the city's hands to really get that done. I mean, nothing else.
Anything else?
Yeah. So just need to have a consensus.
for parts A and B,
Okay.
I think just, like I said, we're looking for a consensus to proceed with. It's still, are we willing to force this benefit district? Are we willing to go down the eminent domain path to get an easement? And that's it. And we'll figure out the details, the next steps after that, once we got direction from the governing body.
So Amanda, you need this petition approved, correct?
Yeah, well, and we can talk about.
Motion for this petition to be approved.
But that's part C, right?
Yeah, that's part C, and like I said, I've got information on that. I provided all that information to county staff. We can go through it if you have questions, but it's pretty simple. Everybody else in the district is a willing participant. So I would, if it's 100% yeses, I can just go straight to a petition and resolution process with our governing body. Obviously, though, the caveat is you're also a petitioner, so yes, we have to have a motion to authorize the chair to sign that petition. And I can then go to my governing body and award the project. We kind of flagged April 17th as a date to give our governing body a general update on this project, and hopefully, I mean, we'll want to have as much ready to go for that meeting as possible. At this point, I believe it's only going to be petitions and resolutions and awarding part C.
If there's nothing else then, I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the chair to sign part C petition for 300 Johnson Road.
I'll second.
Is there moved and seconded to update the petition part C for, what was the address?
300 Johnson Road.
300 Johnson Road. All in favor?
Aye.
Please sign.
You have a notary from the city.
Yeah. We just have to witness it. Yeah. Come on.
Thanks, Randy.
Yes, thank you. Everybody.
You probably need a driver's license.
I don't, technically, I don't think so. We just need to witness it.
Okay, come over here.
We know.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is technically still. He has to notarize.
Each one or
Yeah.
at a time?
Yep.
Oh,
That's all you have to sign and then.
Well, let's see, there's three
Randy had
spots
the
here. Okay, do you want me to, let me go ahead and find the three spots?
You see, any spot that's where the,
Well, there's one there, there's three.
I think those are just copies.
Are they?
We only have the, yeah, I don't think we.
Unless 300 Johnson Road, yeah.
Unless you need. Official copy.
Yeah, I think we'll take a signed copy, so then however many you folks need.
Be two of them.
I just always do 3, so.
Whatever. Let's just sign them all. And if you don't use it,
Already put the three, we'll sign.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay.
Was there anything else on this one? Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, I missed, I passed it.
No, it's clear at the bottom.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, you can go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Lewis, Community Corrections. Nice to see you again. I am here this morning for our staff update. I'll start with juvenile intake and assessment. In the month of January, we had 6 intakes completed. 4 of those individuals were released to their parent or guardian. 1 was released to a DCF or contract worker, and then 1 was placed in detention. Our youth court immediate intervention program, we had 16 participants in the month of January in Riley County, none in Clay County. For juvenile intensive supervision, we had a total of 23 participants. Our number continues to grow even gradually. It's going up throughout the past year. For adult services intensive supervision, we had 94 individuals on intensive supervision, 3 in treatment, 17 in jail, for a total of 114. In our recovery court program, we did recently have a graduation. Last week, we had 2 graduates. We have 19 participants in the month of January, 18 in Riley County, 1 in Clay County, for a total of 68 participants since the start of the program. We only have 1 left in Clay County, and that person is going to graduate in April. So we're not sure what that looks like moving forward. Some of the updates are, as you know, we have our grant applications that are due to KDOC by March 13th. And we received the Specialty Court Funding Award in the amount of $28,650 in the month of January. And then in addition, we were contacted by the Clay County Coalition. They have a drug endangered children's grant, and there's a $10,000 amount in that grant that they had a previous purpose for it, and for some reason they can't use it for that. And so they are trying to seek approval from the Drug Endangered Children's program to see if they can utilize it for our recovery court. So there's not an application process for us or anything, but they are trying to get approval to utilize it for that purpose. So that's kind of a cool opportunity where I didn't have to complete a grant application. So I like that. I do apologize. Earlier when I presented, we do have a letter for the Clay County Commissioners. If you guys would be willing to sign that, asking for appropriations to support that. And so Mr. Vargo has that.
Signature.
Okay, which one was
It's not
that
on
for?
there. It's not on.
So moved.
It's late edition.
Move to approve this is the request to Clay Center. Is that
Yes, sir.
requesting Clay County for their portion?
appropriation.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to sign the letter of request for Clay County. Okay. Okay.
All three, please sign.
Thank you, commissioners. I apologize. That wasn't part of my packet. I got so excited to present all those pages.
Late finish.
Yes, late edition.
All.
Getting too dependent on this thing. She does.
Yeah. Okay. The 8% of the time it covers everything.
Yeah,
While Commissioner Pokey is signing, I did want to bring to your attention, I don't know if it'll work out. We were provided some information this week that there is a BJA grant opportunity that has opened up. It closes on April 6th. And so we are reading through that. It's a pretty big packet. We're reading through that to see if it is something that would be a potential opportunity to fund our recovery court program. So it is a quick turnaround, but I have a meeting scheduled with Pawnee. It's basically a collaboration grant. So we would have to, it is to implement a mental health initiative into your recovery court program. So I do have a meeting with Pawnee Mental Health next week to talk about that, to see if it is something that we could utilize for our recovery court program and apply for that. So I did want to bring that to your attention. And that is all I have for today. Do you guys have any questions? Thank you. Have a good day.
thank you. Okay, do we have anything else?
I don't.
Good.
Okay, I will make a motion that we adjourn the February 26th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded to adjourn the February 26th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's good we can.